defending Jordan Canada and Jewel Lloyd, and what your plan there was. They ended up shooting 3 for 17, 10 points, 4 assists, and 7 turnovers. What did you like out of your team defending them?
I think we were better at the point of attack with both players today. We've done a good job of trying to reinforce our shell and our team defense, and sometimes at the detriment of taking pride in our individual defense. And I thought that Sydney, Chelsea, Alexis, TRP, they just kind of took pride in their individual defense, and then our bigs were really really active. Candace Neka, Maria Kalani, they were all active. So I just thought that we collectively did a good job. You can't slow players as good as those two are by just putting one player on them. So I thought that our team defense was good, but our guards that were covering those players, I thought they were good at the point of attack.
Coach, you guys had 23 assists tonight, but regardless of that, I felt like the ball movement was really good. You guys always made the extra pass. Was that a product of, I guess, plays and like the system, or was that just them playing basketball and trusting their teammates?
I think it's a combination. We talked a little bit about this Seattle team, how good they are in forcing turnovers, leading the league in steals, and how good they are themselves at the point of attack. If you run screen roll too tight to the sideline, they'll trap you and get into rotation. If you threaten their paint, if they have a disadvantage in the post, they'll send a second person. And so they rotate a lot. And we talked a lot about having the patience and the discipline not to just squeeze off the first shot that you see if it's an average shot, but that a teammate may have a better one if you're willing to make an extra pass or two. And I thought that as a group they made a collective effort to make sure that they passed up maybe a decent shot for a better one on the other side, and it worked out well for us.
Coach, Masha had a great game off the bench today. She was a former first-round pick. You were without her for a little bit, when she went to Eurobasket. But, if she could produce like this, what kind of added dimension do you think, she can bring to the team?
A big one. I mean, her ceiling is far from being even close to accessed. She had limited opportunities, previously, and I think she's still figuring out a lot about playing in a W, where to take advantage of her opportunities. But she's really versatile. She's an offensive-minded player without necessarily being selfish. And she can convert. She can shoot the basketball. She finishes around the basket really well. So for Masha this year, it's just a matter of her getting back into some rhythm. We knew she would be better today than she was on Thursday. We just didn't know statistically maybe what that would mean. But you could tell she was moving better. She was feeling more comfortable, just getting accustomed to her teammates again. I was told yesterday that Sydney is her translator now. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do think that Masha can help us in so many ways, and it takes a little bit of pressure off of Neka and Shanae and Candace and Kalani, having to carry so much of the load, which they have so far this year.
Sports guy David from Fantasy Sports Cave. You guys were 80% of the team is healthy. Prior to a couple weeks ago, you only had 7-8 players. Can you speak on how you utilize everyone into the starting lineup and rotations?
Yeah, I mean, I think right away, at the beginning of the season, tried to make a concerted effort, and always do, to people that earn an opportunity to play. We try to get them out there because throughout the course of a season, there are going to be injuries. There are going to be suspensions. There are going to be things that you can't plan for that happen. And if players have just been sitting on the sideline the whole season, and then in August you expect to throw them out there against one of the best teams in the league and they're going to play well, it most likely won't happen. So at the beginning of the season, when we had a decent amount of bodies, we were playing 9, 10, sometimes 11 people. Because you have to find out who can help you in what ways. who maybe can't help you in certain ways, so that you can help them get better. And then when you do need them, they can step in and be productive. So when we went down to 7, 8 players, I feel like Marina and Kalani didn't feel like they were overmatched by the opportunity that they found, because they were playing minutes right from the beginning of the season. And so we've tried to just keep that in mind. And so, the bigger probably challenge for us will be, at any point we get all 12 players healthy, then that's when we're going to have to figure out how this is all supposed to work. And so there'll probably be a few more women walking down the hall mad at me. But, it comes with the job.
Piggyback off of that, have not your whole roster, but you're beating teams where they're just having maybe that are healthier than you. What do you feel like is working with the team or working with the lineups that you have? How are you able to manage to pull those talents together and win?
Well, I mean, we've just tried from the beginning to create a sense of ownership and accountability, within the players themselves, right? And that all the answers don't come from us; they don't come from me. I can't draw up effort. There's no scheme for competitiveness, and so I think that as we've kind of worked our way through this season, we've gotten to know each other better, which is hard to do in the W when, basically 2 days before the season starts, that's when you have your final roster for the first time, essentially. So it takes a while during the season to kind of figure out who everybody is, how we get along, what our chemistry and camaraderie is going to be. And I think that that's what is kind of holding us together while we're still going through some injuries and at times maybe not the most fluid basketball play. We tried to build some habits right from the beginning, that we do this together. We work hard. We look out for each other. We care about our performance, and that there are no excuses for poor performance at the professional level. Injuries, heavy road schedule, 2 o'clock game, 7 o'clock game, doesn't matter. Some kind of way, your job is to figure out how to come and perform. And I think a lot of our players are starting to figure out what works for them individually and then what works for us as a team. And hopefully we can continue to build on those things.
Speaking of competitiveness and fire, what do you make of the NBA fourth quarter?
Yeah, after the game, because I always have something to say to Marina. So I chose not to say anything to Marina today. I just said good job, and I walked off. So I think that, very, very proud of Marina because, being a player and a first-year player in particular is really, really hard. And you're humbled in ways that you maybe haven't been in touch with for a while when you've gone to a big-time program like Notre Dame. You've won NCAA championships. You've been in the Final Four, hit big shots, big moments. And then all of a sudden, you're playing and then you're not playing. And then sometimes you play 4 minutes and sometimes you don't play at all. And it's hard mentally. And so it's been really up and down for her. And, the competitiveness that she showed in the fourth quarter, that's what we've loved about her from day one. That's why we drafted her. And it's good for her to be able to do that after adversity, right? We met right before the All-Star break, and I shared the examples of Kobe shooting the air balls at the end of his rookie year, right? And the choices that he could have made after that. Everybody questioned him, criticized the coach. Does this kid, why was he even in this position? Blah, 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 blah. Obviously, 20 years later, we know, the answer to a lot of these questions. And so to be one of the greatest, to be a professional, to excel at the highest level, you have to look failure, adversity, lack of success, lack of playing time, people questioning you, the coach not believing in you, your teammates not believing in you, and look all of that stuff in the face and then still work hard and go out and prove everybody wrong. So when you see Marina have a fourth quarter like that, like those are like the building blocks of having that type of mentality. I play 1 minute Thursday, and then guess what? What do I do with my minutes today? And so, that's the type of place we're trying to build here. We want all of our players to have that kind of mentality.
Last question, Sabrina.
Coach, are you worried at all about the minutes that Chelsea Gray is getting?
Sometimes I do. But, speaking of Kobe Bryant, that comes with the territory. When you're an all-star starter, when you're one of the best players on the team, when you carry the level of responsibility that she carries for our group, sometimes it has to be that way. We try and communicate as often as possible about how she's feeling, in that given game in terms of minutes played. But, we also try and do some things to offset that in terms of our schedule, and how we manage practice, the things that we do, we choose not to do, days that are lighter in terms of workload, so we try to incorporate all those things. So if Chelsea does have a big minutes situation like today, we don't practice tomorrow, and then we have a couple more days before Thursday. Practice will be planned with those things in mind in terms of who's getting minutes, who's not, who has to come early, who doesn't, etc. But, we rest at the end, not in the middle. I've heard that recently, and I feel like that kind of sums up what it's like to be a professional basketball player. There is no rest in the middle of the season, so just got to keep going.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and to close out our edition here of East LA Sports Scene, covering the LA Sparks and the WNBA here at the Staples Center, we're about ready to give you our wrap-up here, the outro of today's program. And the Sparks again win at home, protecting the home court advantage as they take the final score here is 83-75, and leading the way and leading the charge, which is the slogan for this year for the Sparks, Candace Parker, playing another excellent game all around, 21 points. And let's see, we had 7 rebounds for her, and she's followed by Nneka Ogwumike with a double-double. Another one here. We have to keep track of all of the double-doubles. She's probably nearing 10 for the season, but she puts in 13 points along with 10 rebounds, and 9 of those were defensive rebounds for Nneka Ogwumike. And then she's followed by Maria Vadiva with 14 as a reserve. And then let's see, there's 10 points for Chelsea Gray again, who is just dominant here as the point guard, one of the premier players in the WNBA. And let's see, getting some playing time and making the most of it was Marina Mabry with 10 points. And she was just all over the court on offense, getting those nice baskets. And let's see, followed here at the end, Tierra Ruffin-Pratt, TRP, with 6. And Sydney Weiss with 3. And let's see, Alexis Jones with 2. And Kalani Brown with 4 for the grand total of 83 points. And let's see here for the Seattle Storm, 16 points for Alicia Clark. Natasha Howard puts in 13. And Mercedes Russell with 12. And followed by, let's see, Sammy Whitcomb had a great game there for Seattle. But we also picked out coverage tonight of Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, alumni of Mater Dei and UConn, the national championship to her credit. And, of course, a great career here in the pros with the WNBA. She had, 2 points for her efforts today. So, final score, 83-75. LA Sparks move on to 13-8, and they will now have a couple of days off of practice, and then they come back. We believe they go on the road, and then they come back here next Sunday. So for Eric Sarney, our producer and director of photography, yours truly, Rico Cabrera, doing the write-up and the interviews here on EastLASportsScene.com. We thank you for watching, and go to our website where you'll see us on YouTube, and then subscribe there as well. And every time we publish another story, it'll come to you directly. So thanks for watching. Take care. Be careful, be safe, but more importantly, be back here with us on East LA Sports Scene. So till we're together again, take care, and we will see you when we do. Take care. Bye-bye.